Somalia president survived a militia attack. So does this worry the country now that we are seeking to enhance more peace measures between Kenya and also other countries like Netherlands now? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam. It does worry us. Any violation to peace and security anywhere should worry us. And what did happen in Somalia is most unfortunate, but it brings to life the fact that the threat to peace and security in the region, and particularly now, if I may talk of the Horn of Africa, it is something that we must all take seriously. It will not deter Kenya from engaging in the peace initiatives that are ongoing. There are some that you are well aware of that involve South Sudan that will continue. Also peace initiatives in Somalia itself that will continue. We have the DRC process, which I alluded to in the statement, that will continue. And also the Sudan challenge, we shall continue being a constructive interlocutor on matters of peace in the region. Mr. Minister, maybe just for purposes of bringing out the symbolism of this room is called Amani Room. It stems from the 42 days of negotiating Kenya's peace process in this very room with the late Kofi Annan, the late Mukapa, Madame Gracia Machel, and of course the different parties from the Kenyan political landscape. And I was part of that team, including President Ruto, who is our president today. And it is through dialogue, those 42 days, it was through that dialogue that we were able to come to terms and even lay the foundation for Kenya's new constitution that came up in 2010. So all I'm trying to emphasize is that as we stand here, the symbolism is immense, that matters of peace and security must be handled through dialogue, and we shall continue doing that as a country.
Yes, my name is Andrea Dijkstra. I'm a Dutch journalist for Dutch daily newspaper Trouw. My question is for Prime CS Honorable Mudavadi. Our Dutch king raised yesterday evening also the Dutch concerns about the reports of abductions and impunity in Kenya. I'm sure you also in the last few hours spoke with Minister Veldkamp about the importance of accountability. Therefore, my question is, which actions does the Kenyan government take to end the impunity in relation to these abduction cases? And how many suspects have been arrested in relation to the abductions of more than 80 young Kenyans in the last 9 months?
First of all, I just want to say that Kenya is a country that believes in the rule of law. And we have institutions. We have the IPOA, Independent Police Oversight Authority, which is headed by a good legal mind, Isaac Hassan. And we expect where there are complaints, and indeed there was even a report of that was handed over to the President, where there are reports of any violations or transgressions, we expect action to be taken through the judicial process. And we are not about to run away from this particular position. So indeed, if there are any transgressions by the security agencies, we expect the due process of the law to take place. We value all lives, we value everybody. Equally, I think it is important that I also highlight that on Kenya's part, let us protect our freedoms by being responsible. So that violations from both sides, if you have a right to demonstrate as enshrined in the Constitution, do so, but do so peacefully, so that we are not involved in destroying property and harming other Kenyans who also have a right to engage. So all I can say is that we expect the institutions that have been provided for and have the legal and constitutional mandate to go to the full length of the investigations. And I can assure you, where appropriate conclusive evidence is put together, the government will not hesitate and will not obstruct in the prosecution process going forward.
Good afternoon. My name is Ode Francis from CitizenTV. Mine is about the lady Nduta who was imprisoned in Vietnam. Two questions. One, so far, apart from Nduta, how many other prisoners do we have in Vietnam in regards to trafficking? And then the second one, I'm tempted to ask if Nduta was apprehended in Vietnam, how did she successfully traffic from JKIA? What does that mean when it comes to our security apparatus within our international airport? Asante.
Thank you. That's a very critical question, and I'll attempt to deal with it in maybe 2 or 3 parts. First, it is unfortunate that a Kenyan is facing this kind of situation. It's not a pleasant situation, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and in particular my PS, has been trying to converse with his counterpart in Vietnam to see if there can be some mitigation in this process. So that is one thing, and we hope that there can be some success so that there is no summary execution as we go ahead. But there are issues that we must also deal with. I can tell you that in different countries today, I may not have an exact figure on Vietnam, but later, because I was planning to issue a statement on this particular space, but I'll attempt to deal with it now. We have a record, and we are still counting, that out of the Kenyans in the diaspora, we have a total of about 1,000 Kenyans in different countries facing incarceration for different offenses. Each country will have a number. Okay? Now, some could be misdemeanors, some could be very serious offenses. So I cannot specifically at this stage tell you that this is the particular offense per individual. And we are trying to gather data from other countries, because as Kenyans travel, they do not declare that they are traveling. So they travel on their own volition. It is their right, and they can go to whichever country they can go to, as long as they have their visas approved by those respective countries. So that's one factor. Second, the issue of drug trafficking. And we are not trying to say she's guilty or not guilty, other than what we have as a record from the judicial process in Vietnam. So ours is not about a judgment, but working on that basis. If we want to also send a clear message as a country, we need to be careful that Kenyans who are stepping out into the diaspora do not fall into the trap of engaging in any illegal activities. It's absolutely important that this is taken. We want responsible Kenyans at home, and we equally want responsible Kenyans in the diaspora, in whatever country you are in. We have been at the forefront in promoting bilateral labor agreements, trade, also focusing on responsible mobility of labor and so forth. We've been talking to these things. And one of the things I've been emphasizing is that please, the young Kenyans that are going out, remember that the moment you board a plane and the wheels have lifted, when you land in whatever country you're going into, the laws that apply are not Kenyan laws. They are the laws of that respective country. So please respect the law. Vietnam has got its own judicial processes, and we want to make it clear that we do not want to market Kenya as a conduit for illicit trade, whether drugs or human trafficking or any other contraband or even illicit firearms. We have to be very clear to this, and we have to be collective and understanding on this matter. So it is important that as we deal with these cases, we have to appreciate that it's a bigger issue, and in certain instances we have a process where we are also working on instruments that are being negotiated by Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Attorney General's office, so that we can have mutual agreements on even how to deal with exchange of prisoners and so forth. And this is a process where you have to talk to each country separately, because the rules may be different, that would allow mutual exchange of those who either have almost concluded their term or they are about to end. So you have to look at it also in the context that if somebody is murdered in Kenya by somebody else, we expect the rules of Kenya to apply. Those who may be involved in illicit drug trade, whether they are Kenyans or not, but if they are found within the Kenyan space, then the laws of Kenya will apply on those matters. So I think I can only appeal to you, and thank you for your question, because it's so important that we convey this message to the Kenyans in an objective and fair way, so that nobody thinks that it's a simple game. Once you step into a plane, you board a plane and you leave, and you land somewhere else, the laws that apply are not Kenyan laws. They are the laws of that country. And you have seen there were cases in Kenya of the Akashas. They are incarcerated in the US on drug-related matters. So therefore, this would not, if indeed it's the case, it will not be the first one. Okay? Because there are others. But all lives matter. And all we can say at this stage is that we hope we can find a solution to this. But please convey this message. Help us to really speak to our young people, because we have a demographic challenge. Jobs may be a problem for us today, but because our population is very, very young, people might think it's an adventure. It's not an adventure. Security checks in various airports, in various ports of entry in different countries are very intense, very thorough. So don't try to do that. And for Kenya, we also want to make sure that we continue to intensify the surveillance here. I can tell you there are so many also incidents where we have nabbed narcotics at our ports of entry. So it's not as bad as that. But once in a while, it's possible that there could be slippage. So we hope that with this, because we don't really know whether she was conveying this directly from here or from another station. There are even very simple messages that come across. Travel tips that don't lose sight of your bag. They ask you a very simple question: who packed your bag? So if you are traveling and you're allowing somebody else to pack your bag, how sure are you that the person packing your bag is Jesus? Thank you.
This brings us to the end of this briefing.